At the Los Angeles Tribune, we believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. We are proud to be the only national brand to empower everyday people to make a difference. Since 1886, our reputation has been built on truth and responsibility. Thank you for watching and making a difference.
For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
Welcome to day 2 of Leadership Week, and we are about to step into the Stage Masters Leadership Panel. You guys, do not move from your seats. We are about to give away some of the best secrets in the industry. My name is Jason Antelek, and I am the director of the Speakers Bureau with the Los Angeles Tribune. And I have arranged a panel here. If you are a speaker or you are looking to grow your business through hitting that stage or speaking in front of people, or frankly, even if you're just in a one-on-one session, which is still a speaking opportunity, this is the panel that you guys have been waiting for. Everyone on this panel is holding presence. They speak louder than a script. And if you've ever been watching and wondering what makes a speaker stand out, what event planners are really looking for, and what it takes to be invited back to the stage, that is exactly what you're going to find out today. So I'd like to bring up a couple of our folks here, our event planners, Brenda Ringwood, Marla Press. If you would join us real quick here. These are 2 of my cohorts. We got RK joining us. Mark is headed his way up too. Let's just go ahead and fill up this screen with some of the best speakers on the planet, you guys. We are representing from every single corner right here. Every part of the stage that exists for you, there is someone here that is a professional at it. Brenda, let's start with you right there with BTBY. We just recently all participated in that incredible speaker class over the 8 weeks that is all about being the better you. And we were in the speakers version. Brenda, you have got a ton of things going on. You're not just a speaker and author and founder of multiple businesses, one of the most resilient stories of transformation. Share a little bit, Brenda, about your core message and what it takes to really hit one of your stages.
So I believe that people can change if they want to, but they have to want it or it's not going to happen. It won't be real. So I teach people to rule their own kingdom, to not let fear, doubt, insecurities, what other people think, rule your life. So we created Becoming the Better You to give a stage to help people get unstuck, to help them get to the next level of their life, because we need those platforms to share our stories. And to get on our stage, you just have to have a phenomenal story and want to help people.
I know personally that Brenda does have a phenomenal story, and I'm hoping she'll sneak that in as we move along here. Also, another cohort on the screen with me, Marla Press. We are lined up to do some fun right here in Colorado in September, and I know that you are always creating stages and bringing speakers along, and everybody's got kind of a core message that happens in that. But Marla, you're really helping people discover their voice and express their message with authenticity and impact. So those are words that we hear a lot. So take us to the next place in that. What does that really mean?
What does that mean? I mean, people overuse the word presence and authenticity. And we kind of know what that means, but we don't really know what that means. And presence, I like to give people example because it's hard to intellectualize about these things, right? So the example is someone walks in a room, whether it's a Zoom room or whether it's in a meeting or wherever, and no one really notices that they're there, or maybe they forget you're there. That person doesn't have presence. And someone else, they walk into a room and everybody notices. They're curious. They want to know more. They want to connect with you because you have presence. And presence to me is not the same as mindfulness. A lot of people think, well, it's just being in the present moment. That's mindfulness. Presence is getting out of this cluttered, critical mind and into your full body energy and communicating from that place. And then you connect to people on a different level. You connect from your essence. And it also brings out your authenticity when you are in your full body and connecting from this place and not from the mind that is thinking about, well, what are other people thinking about me and what's happening right now and what about what happened before. You're not thinking about those things. You're just being the essence of who you are and embodying that.
Moving right past self-doubt and commanding the stage. That is what we're talking about, Marla, right? Did you guys hang in that little pause? That's a speaker. That's someone who brings it forward. Thank you so much for bringing that focus to the presence, because that's why my man RK is here. We're talking about multi-dimensional creator, strategist. This is a speaker who bridges the gap between, the ancient wisdom and what we can bring to the stage and claim that authentic power. So this is exactly who you're looking for, Marla. And RK, tell me a little bit about what it is to bring that energy and what the leverage of that energy really means when you step into the full power of the stage.
Yeah, thank you so much. Aloha, everybody. It's really commanding your inner dialogue and knowing who you are. When you step onto the stage and you know your worth, you know your value, and you are so passionate about what you're speaking about, when you step on that stage, there is no denying that you're there, and your power and your presence shifts rooms. And when you were talking about ancient wisdom, when we look at science and spirituality, when we are able to understand that everything is energy, there's an energy dynamics that's going on. When you are embodied and grounded and you're able to transmit that energy through other people, that's called entrainment. And so you're entraining the audience and the people around you to bring them up to your level of energy so that that energy can be transfused to them as well. And so if somebody's just speaking, they can be speaking, but their presence, just what Marla was speaking on, is going to be the difference when people can feel your authenticity, and it's going to bring them in so they can really resonate with the message on a deep level. And that's what transforms lives.
And that's it right there. He said it. We are hitting it with the training. These are trainers, not speakers, that we're talking to right now. I don't know why we don't run. We should run, not walk, to the Speakers Bureau. Right. The Los Angeles Tribune Speakers Bureau is ready to put these voices out in the world. We're going to do that with LAT Talks in July in Las Vegas. That is coming up right around the corner. Now, on the screen, we still have a couple of guys that are ready to go here, but we're already talking about 6 events in the next 5 months between just the people that we brought forward. And speaking of training, our personal mind trainer, that is my man Mark Siegel sitting here. He is committed to helping purpose-driven leaders create sustainable success. This isn't just the fly-by-night mission, okay? This is really living the mission, stepping into it. But Mark, tell us about that your seasoned strategy and business development. How are you leading entrepreneurs to scale what they're already doing?
So most entrepreneurs are, they're focused on growing their business, obviously. The thing is, they forget about their own personal vision, their own personal mission. Like, why did you start this business in the first place? Why are you leading? So it's leading by example. A lot of people talk about work-life balance, and I like to call it work-life harmony, because there's 10 areas of life, and you can't balance 10 things at one time. It's impossible. There's not enough arms and legs to balance all that stuff. So the thing is, you got to bring it back to the leader has to lead by example. And when you have the ideal state of mind, which is really the key thing. So things happen and we can react to those things, or we can pause, like you pointed out, Jason, and then respond in a way that shows leadership. Leaderships don't react. They're not reacting to the world around them. They're not taking what they get. They're creating. Sometimes creating from nothing, and amazing things come from that. But it starts with your personal vision. When you have a vision of what you want, and then the business is really just the thing that fuels your personal vision. And people can feel that. When you're purpose driven, people can feel that. And then it's not just about you. It's not just about the leader. It's a mission. It's a purpose. It's a core quest. And people want to join in on that for the quest, for the purpose of the quest. So that's the biggest thing that I can share with people.
Wow, already with the takeaways, man. I hope folks are writing these things down, because this is going to go from immovable to unstoppable here in just a moment. Because I got to tell you guys, all day long, we've been hearing some of the things that have just clicked off. Joseph McClendon opening the day for us today, shared a little bit of what Mark just delivered. Part of Knowing What You Want came up with Karen Hall's cool, like we had that come up several times during her segments today. So some of the things that we're talking about are just the foundation, not just of being a human, right, but actually showing that presence and becoming that unstoppable force. Now, a man who knows a lot about that is my friend Terrence. Terrence, it is so glad to hear you and have you today. I've been waiting all day to hear it, man. I got to hear that unstoppable from you.
Hey, Jason. It is an unstoppable day. It's an unstoppable day wherever you are watching us on this phenomenal day. Just the second day of Leadership Week, and I'm already geeked up and excited to be in your presence and in all of our people's presence this afternoon, this morning, this evening, depending on what time you're watching us.
Terrence, I'm glad you made it in, and I know you're unstoppable, because no matter what it is that gets in your way, you still show up, no matter how that's going to happen. And thank you for being present today. Now, I want to ask you, because you're always instrumental in facilitating events. One of the things that I love to do as well. We've got so many cool things coming up, and I know that you are a master MC. So for an event, say like the BTBS, the Be the Better Speaker that we have coming up, and you guys we're doing some of that in Kansas City. You guys have your annual event that happens in September as well. For another event like LAT Talks, those live opportunities to hit the stage, that A-roll, that time to be able to deliver to an audience when it's always there. Tell the folks how important it is to have that one thing that really hits, that thing that everybody wants to write down, that needs to be clipped and sent around the world, that message of the moment. Help the speakers understand how important that really is.
You know what? I think you said it right there. I can actually get off camera because you just said it. The message of the moment. And as a leader, and specifically as a leader who speaks, you always want to make sure that the message for that moment isn't about you, but it's for the people that you are talking to, that you are communicating with. It's important for you, especially as an MC, to have that confidence that when you walk in the room, that you're going to communicate with everybody in the room, and that you're going to read the room so that you can deliver a message that is for the room. It's nothing worse than coming to an event with an ideal, wanting to receive something, and everybody that comes across the stage is not giving you what you need. And it's only as leaders and leaders in the speaker community, leaders in the communications business, because speaking is communicating at its core, being able to communicate to the people that you are charged to speak to. And when I think about leaders, Jason, I think about servant leaders, because ultimately, at the end of the day, my job as a leader is to serve the people that I've been charged to be leaders. And I can only do that two ways. First of all, I've got to be a leader of one. I've got to be a leader of myself. I've got to have confidence in myself. I've got to know that the message that I am going to be giving is not for me, but for the people that I've been charged to speak to. And then number two, I have to give that message and also give myself the opportunity and the freedom to change that message if the audience needs to hear something different.
Wow. Again, we could just close up the screen right here. The master class is happening here with each and every one of us. Terrence, thank you for your contribution there. And that 1-2, man, the 1-2 punch is something that hits really hard. And for folks to understand what presence really means, I'd like to get a little more rounded view, because let's give a shout out real quick to the BTBY, that nonprofit that is just being the better you. Yeah, do we got speakers doing it? Yes, but it's really at the core about being better humans and better souls. The truth is, it's about how we show up. Now, this is coming to you, Brenda, because you really look at what presence is delivered before, during, and after. Right? You're really watching about what people are doing the whole time when nobody's looking, and how speakers and other event planners, other MCs get invited back to your events. So help us understand, as a planner and a curator, what are you really looking for in someone's presence, and what is the key to them being invited back?
I want them to live what they're teaching. If you're not living what you're teaching, then you're being a phony on the stage. So if you're not living what you're teaching, you are a phony on the stage. And why would we have you back? So if you're living your life by the example that you're living, then we want you. So there's nothing worse than being three different people. We have the people that we are at home, the people we are when we go to church, and the people we are at work. But you can be all the same person and just be yourself in every aspect of your life. We shouldn't be different because we're in a different setting. How we communicate, how we act, how we respond, how we build those relationships should be how we just do it. It shouldn't be different for everybody. It should be just you. And that's what we look for.
And that's what this room feels like. I'll be honest, it's the same person that you talk to here as the same person you're going to show up and shake hands with, the same person you're going to greet before and after the stage. That's a beautiful way to say it. That really gets down to the core of who we are, right? Even if it's media presence, A-roll, speaker visibility, even when we're thinking about those things, it's actually coming from our base integrity and who we truly are. And that word authenticity, rolling right into servant leadership, another word that we have heard several times today. And I really appreciate it coming up in this panel. So Marla, you watch a lot of people through the transition, right? You help a lot of folks move into what we're talking about here. And then RK, you're coming up next, buddy. So pay attention, because this question is going to flow to you. So when speakers actually stop trying to be heard, when they stop trying to be listened to, and they actually live the message, Marla, how do you get them across that threshold, and what does that mean for them when it happens?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I love what Brenda brought up too. It's like, are you the same person when you're on stage as you are in real life? And I just want to expand on that idea, because what I find, a lot of people, they're not necessarily a phony, but they're not fully expressed. And when you're fully expressed, you're so much more interesting. When you bring out your quirkiness, you're so much more interesting, and people pay attention. And what I find is a lot of speakers, especially beginner ones, but even experienced ones, they want to be seen as confident and the expert and competent. And so they're almost like this stoic talking head, and they're not fully expressed with personality. Jason, you have so much personality, and people love you for that. It's really important to bring that out, because we got to be memorable. And, if you want your message to be heard, you have to be memorable, and you have to be interesting. That's just the way it is, because we're bombarded with information. So we really want an experience. We want to feel something when somebody speaks, and we want a connection. It's the other thing. We need to connect to you as a speaker. And so one of the exercises I love doing with people, that's so much fun, talking about getting them over the threshold, is saying, what could you add to your speaking persona that's really a part of you, but you're subduing it? Yeah. And some people, they need to be more bossy. Other people need to be funnier. Other people need to be more serious. Other people need to be more of the authority. Other people need to be, there's so many parts of yourself that you subdue. Maybe it's your femininity you subdue. There's a lot of things that people subdue in order to try and look like the expert and competent. And yeah, you want to look like the expert and competent, but you also want to be fully expressed. And that is an art. And that is what I help people through. And you can't just talk about it. We do exercises, and it's super fun.
That's true. Marla's an absolute blast. That is a real thing.
We can do it right now, but yeah.
The real expression, the full-on expression and the authenticity, I mean, that's really what does happen on the stage. And speakers are crazy. We are whack-a-doodle, man. We will build the entire roller coaster, stand in line for hours, and then get on it and act like it's a good time and get off and tell you, man, you should ride this thing. It won't kill you. It'll be fun. So speaking of riding, it could kill you. And here is where the personal part comes out. RK has recently been digging to find out who he is, which I'll be honest with you, when you start down the speaking journey and you decide you're going to get on the stage, and we do this through the Speakers Bureau, we help people understand what this transition does as well. So do these trainers right here. So make no mistake, this is an A list, but you're going to make that transition. You are going to look inside yourself. You are going to really have to figure out who you are and what you want to represent. And the multiple parts of you are going to get exposed. It's going to happen. It's going to show up. And you want to know what you're made of? Now, I did it in armor on the back of a horse, but RK, he did this just recently in the bull ring. So talking about energy and presence, RK, let's take a little bit of that personal story of the bull riding and tell me how facing that and integrating that into your persona and who you are and what you shared with us has added to your stage presence.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jason. And Marla, you hit the nail on the head. Really, it's about knowing who you are. A lot of people, they have this programmed version of themselves from society, conditioning, indoctrination, culture, familial associations. And it's really, who am I without the facade? Who am I without the labels? What am I made of? And when you step into that level of authenticity, it's going to force you to be vulnerable. And that vulnerability is where the threshold of change happens. And so I had a calling, an intuition where, from God's spirit creator, and it just kept on happening over multiple days. And like, hey, are you going to the rodeo? Because I was wearing this hat right back here. And I was like, maybe. And then somebody said, you're going to ride a bull. I was like, all right, let me do it. Let's go hop on a bull. I've never been trained. I've never done it before. But if I'm speaking about these things in my book and my nonprofit and telling people, hey, we have one life to live. How are you going to live it? How are you going to be engaged with yourself and other people? Because people can feel the presence when you're authentic, when you're vulnerable, when you're you. They don't want some watered down version of you. They want, everybody else is already taken. Everybody else is already taken. You might as well be you. Like, own who you are, love your quirks, love life, because people can feel that energy. And so I hopped up on that bull. I didn't have any equipment. I got it all borrowed to me. And they gave me a 30-second rundown. Hey, this is what you do. Hop on it. And I did it. And I rode for 8 seconds. And it was amazing. It was amazing because the threshold of change is fear. And are you going to, the guardian is fear. So are you going to step through and move past the fear? Because everybody's fearful. It doesn't matter if you're a billionaire, if you're a president, if you're, we all have things because that's the humanity inside of us. And so being courageous and brave and saying, hey, I'm worth this. I can experience something. I can change my life. Just like BTBY and what Brenda was talking about. Everybody has the capacity to change. Are you going to do it and follow through with it? And that's what the story was about.
Boom sauce. Man, we've been using that all day today, and I'm just going to hand that right over.
Boom sauce, baby.
Let's send it right over to my man. What a story. What a story, and the reality of what that means, and really meeting it, it's just, and integrating it. And that's one of the when I saw you in the leadership role at our event in Las Vegas in January, RK, that was one of the things that really stood out to me, was your presence and the way that you hold it and you carry it consistently. Right? And that brings you into that trainer space. That brings you into that place of being able to command a room. And it's not because we're trying to step into an ego. It's because we're representing for the others, right? And when we notice the patterns, when we see the things that are keeping people from being themselves, this is our way as speakers of doing what we love and helping people through that. So any of you that are out there that maybe have blockages and whatever thing you're trying to do, just because it's a speakers panel doesn't mean that these aren't the same things that can help you. And I'll give you a perfect example right now. Mark, you notice patterns. You work with patterns, right? The hypnotism, you're the personal mind trainer, and you've got great tools. And you guys get ready, because we're going to go around the horn with tools here, okay? This is coming up. This is teeing up. But Mark, I want to hear from you for a minute or so about, what it is that is the difference between being front row, backstage, in the production, right? What are the different patterns, and what do you notice for people that they want to adjust and move? What did you have to go through and adjust and move so that you became the stage master you are today?
Well, the biggest thing is mindset, and like everybody's been talking about, and I'm just so happy to be on. I feel like I'm on with a bunch of friends, because I've met all of you in person, shy of Terrence. Sorry, not yet. In a couple of weeks.
It's coming.
And you're all just like who you are, how you show up. And I think that's a key thing. So on stage, off stage, who are you? And, one of the biggest things that you actually taught, Jason, by example, is that leaders are servers. I mean, I watched you at that event in Vegas, and you were just serving. You were like, how can I get that chair? How can I move this? How can I do that? Who needs a micro? Who needs, it's just helping out. And it's, for me, the level of authenticity starts with your state of mind, right? So to be you, like, you don't have to put on this big persona. I'm not this overly enthusiastic person like a lot of speakers are. I look at it more like a calm enthusiasm, and that really, you got to find your sweet spot. So there's tons of different things that you could dial up. You could be excited, motivated, enthusiastic, focused, driven, calm, relaxed, whatever it is. And you can combine all of these to become your authentic self, the ultimate version of you, essentially. And this is really, it's a mindset. So for me, I was afraid to speak to a group of one, and then I had to get over that because I was put on stage in front of a lot of people. And what I found was speaking to one person in the audience, making eye contact, connecting with one person, whether it be live and in person or on Zoom, you connect with one person at a time. You're not speaking to 1,000 people or 100 people or even 10 people. You're speaking to one person. And then that comes across as conversational, as your authentic self. So there's one tool that I could share. It's just have a conversation.
That's the perfect breakup right there, right? Make that eye contact, break the pattern, noticing it quickly. All right, Mark, thank you for dishing it up. We're going to go around real fast. Each one of you, we got about 10 seconds each. Give him your best one. Go for it, Marla. What is your best tool to send him away with today?
Oh, you want to be embodied in your body and not in your critical mind, not in your head. And
Brenda.
That will create magic.
Put your crown on and rule your kingdom. Live your life. Get out there.
Terrence.
The most important part of being unstoppable is knowing your own abilities. That's why it's at the end of it. ABLE. No one else has it but you.
Mark.
Focus on the intention of solving a big problem that your audience needs solved.
RK.
When you realize that nobody else is like you, that's when you step into your superpower.
Right. They do not wait for permission. They make the point. They are not doing this off of a script. This is a signal. I would love to bring my man Jeff up too real quick here if we could. I want to say thank you to this panel. Thank you guys so much for your contributions, for being the stage masters that you are. Jeff Ross, ladies and gentlemen, this man right here has been delivering since the wee hours. And I mean we before us, because he is in Australia. So I'm going to give up a huge props for Jeff, his team, and the folks behind the scenes that have been doing this. He's been working with Parisa, with Mary Glorfield, with Michael Silvers. Without Jeff, these things wouldn't have been possible. So that panel that we just enjoyed, that he's part of the reason that we got to do that. So Jeff, I wanted to bring you up and just say thank you and publicly say that folks really, really need to know and understand and appreciate.
Nah, thank you very much. And hey, if you're all watching this and you want to make sure that you stay in touch with us, go register at www.lat-leadership.com. leadershipweek.com. And I just had to get on and spend 60 seconds here with Jason because I know both of us have got that high energy, right? So Jason, what's just in 30 seconds, what's some of your tips around being the thermostat of the room and not the thermometer?
Well, 25 years in the DJ booth would have changed me from the thermometer to the thermostat because I have to pay attention to the room. And I maybe didn't really understand fully, but the music, and I learned how it could hit and why the right moment and drop it out and bring it back. And that is sort of the way that it is in life. No, there's a lot of me like you, Jeff. We turn up way too loud. So instead of a switch over here, I put in a dial, and that let me take command of it and change it from a temperature to actually controlling the climate of the room.
Well, absolutely, man. I just had to spend 5 seconds with you. We're going to hand it over to Michael now because we've got more amazing speakers. Can you believe it? 200 plus speakers for this whole event. Over to you, Michael.
It's been great. I wanted to thank everybody, and Jeff, you could stay on for the next. It's up to you. It's truly been such a great experience. Good. Now I'm first position. I like that, though. We can change anything. So, and by the way, everybody really hold on to everything you've heard today, from Joseph McClendon kicking it off with his energy and his thought process and his lead, to Sharon Lechter, to the Great Women's Panel, to the Speakers Panel, to the Los Angeles Tribune Women's Journal, to the podcast journal, the podcast and the podcast speakers. It's been, what an amazing day. And tomorrow, right? And then we're going to kick off. I'm going to bring Jamie up. And tomorrow we're going to kick off with Jim Quick and Joseph McClendon. It just gets better. And then we have Gene Simmons, and it just goes on and on and on. And so many great thought leaders and so many people really working on this. And everybody's just doing it on their own time, because it's about all the countries we're going out to. And then after Jamie, just in a little bit, we're going to have one of the first women CEOs from Japan beaming in from Japan. And we're very excited by that. And she's smarter than me 100%. So that'll be a fun one, right? You get a scientist or anybody than that, I'm like, I'll just follow your lead. All right. Without any further ado, and I'm going to let her introduce herself. And actually, I just met her. I think it's like a day ago, 2 days ago, right? But sometimes when you meet somebody and they come the right energy and they have the right, just that presence, you're like, let's go, let's do this. So everybody, introducing you to Jamie. So Jamie.
Hello, everybody. How is it going? I am so stoked you guys got tons of energy because I don't know anything but energy. So.
It's always, and it's in here. Jeff's from Tasmania. He's been up since 2 a.m. on this broadcast.
Let's go.
Literally rocking it. So it's been great. So I'm going to just move your position because we can do this. And, we're talking about leadership, and it's about leadership all day. Tell us just quickly about your background, because we only got about 10 minutes, but quickly about your background. And then talk a little bit about what does leadership mean to you, and how have you really put it into your what you're creating?
Yeah, so I have a very diverse resume, personally and professionally. I may be young, but I've experienced a whole lot of life. Between on the personal side, I've experienced broken home, death, suicide, eating disorders, rape, abusive relationships, you name it, all of that stuff. Burnout by the age of 25 with a kidney infection. From a professional standpoint, I've worked for myself since I was 18, and then I switched over, randomly sold insurance, took top 20% of the company, and was one of 8 as a Fortune 100 company. I have been a leader with everything that I do because naturally, just even with all of this type of stuff, I learned how to figure it out. So I think leadership is so important in a lot of different facets, but I think the biggest way is like, when and how are you going to start to take leadership of your own life first and foremost? Because how do you expect to lead anybody else if you can't even lead yourself? So I don't know if that quite answered your question, but right out of the gate, I think that's what's most important. The rest of it's irrelevant if you don't know how to lead yourself.
But I think that's true. And so in your life, what is something, just even something tangible that can maybe take away today? What is one thing that keeps you going every single day?
Oh, so I am a very, very strong in my faith. I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for my God, my creator, right? So like, he has glorified the good and the bad in my life. So I have to give all credit to that. I am single, never been married, don't have any kids. So I didn't want to keep going, in full transparency, but there was always little messages. There was always people. There was always things that literally just drove me to make sure that people didn't hurt or experience the things that I did. And that's what kept me going.
I want to jump into there. So, faith, right? It's a really powerful motivator, but unless you're actually taking action, you're not going to get the results, right? You really need to partner with faith. So faith plus action is where the results lie.
Absolutely.
Have you got any tips to be able to help anybody really lean into that?
Yes, I believe that starts with discipline, right? Like we all have the same 24 hours in the day. I always tell people, and I've walked away from my faith many of times, but got taken to my knees plenty of times too. And so for me, it was very much how I start my day. I go to the word before I go to the world. And so it was discipline, the habit of where am I getting fed? That's mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Like I am putting in the time and creating the habits of fueling myself with the right things that is going to drive me in the direction of what I want to go. And specifically in my relationship with God, going to the Bible.
So cool. I could talk about this topic all day long, and Michael knows
I know. Let's
so
go.
it's really passionate about, right? So I want to talk about obedience and submission. But submission giving you our free will, over, right? It's a choice. It's not because we've been compelled to do it. It's because we want to do it.
Yep.
And I think that has been something that has helped me to elevate my leadership, is to realize it's not about me. It's about how can we make ourselves small and the creator big. And so how do you help to, others to lean into that and grow into that space?
Yeah. So one thing I want to give an analogy, because we do have free will of choice, but the way that I like to imagine, I'm a visual person, and I feel like our walk in life and with God is just like a GPS, right? Like we have a destination that's already set in place. I tend to take the scenic route sometimes, definitely not intentionally, because I'm like, oh, this looks shiny. Oh, I know what way I should go. Oh, my pride is speaking. This is what makes sense. And so I end up getting rerouted, but ultimately it always takes me back to the same initial plan. So I think that we do have that option, but I think that there's a way that God can always turn and glorify that. And I've learned over the years as well, when I try to do things my way, and I have like such just very, very gripped expectations of an outcome, we can only control what we can control. And when we realize that that's not much other than our thoughts and our actions, that's when you can loosen your expectations, which can really allow you to submit and then allow that will to be led in the right direction.
Yes, essentially what you're talking about, right, is stewardship. It's like realizing that we don't actually own anything. It's like we're given it as a tool to be able to go multiply with the world, right? And really, it's that whole concept about stewardship. Can you talk more into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, again, I think that stewardship also goes back to like discipline, right? Like life is better when it's not about us first and foremost. But when you truly realize that, like, because I think the world sells us so much on money, power, fame is what's going to make you successful and what's going to make you happy. But when you realize it's love, it's connection, and it's serving, and you know how to steward your time in a successful way of achieving those things, not only is everybody getting to benefit around you, but you are too. So I think that by properly stewarding is going to be the discipline, but then also putting your energy into things that are going to produce that fruit versus the latter.
That's powerful. I'm speechless.
This is a great. This is
not very often I'm speechless.
Yes, Michael told me this. He goes, "Hey, just so you know, it's going to be fast. Be ready." And I was like, "Listen, you stay ready. You don't get ready. You stay ready." And I was ready.
Stay ready. Yeah, it's. Go ahead, Jeff. Keep going.
Great. Okay, cool.
And I'm watching our numbers are actually growing. Yeah, we've had over 2,000 viewers. Keep going.
I want to talk to about the intuition, right? That gut feeling is what I call the Holy Spirit prompting, right? Call it whatever you want to. But I want to talk to that. How do you know how to trust and discern that you're going into the space? For me, it's right. Okay, if it's a block between me and where I need to be, there's probably a distraction, right? But if it's going to be something that really helps me to serve and lean into being a person of love and joy and hope, it's probably that gut prompting that I need to lean into it more. I'd love to know a bit more about how you sort of discern that intuition.
Great question. So I think that this is simple, but it's not necessarily easy, especially in today's world that we have so many distractions and we function in so much chaos. What I genuinely coach people through with the clients that I work with is I'm going to teach you how to slow down so you can actually speed up. And right now, when is the last time somebody has genuinely sat in complete silence? It's about a relationship. It's about intentionality. It's about time. So if you want to learn how to properly trust your intuition, sit with it, get to know it, ask it, why am I doing this? What would potentially be the outcome? Why does this feel good? Why does it feel bad? When in the past has this worked? When in the past has this hurt? Right? So when you slow down, you can become more intentional with it. Like I'm a recovering control freak. And because I always had like very set expectations on things, I got burned because of it. And because even though there was this gut feeling, I knew something bad was coming, but I wanted it so bad, I just overdrove. Right? But when I stopped, I slowed down, I spent time, and I started establishing a relationship, and I learned how to listen in that silence and ask better questions in that relationship. That was when the intuition got stronger and louder, and then the path got clearer.
I feel like we're cut from the same cloth here, because I've been guilty of going in too fast and too hard and, you know, scaring everybody away essentially. And I had to learn how to slow down. I'm still learning, by the way.
Yes.
We all
are lifelong learners.
Yeah. So what you're talking about though is slowing down is to meet people where they're at and have that heart to heart transfer interaction. Right.
Yes.
And that's when we feel help them to see. It keeps coming back to just helping people feel seen and learning how to be active listeners. I love to just see, you know, what your thoughts and, you know, receive some coaching from you to be able to help me to become a better active listener.
I think it's genuinely caring about the person that you're sitting across from. Because I've lived on the East Coast of the United States, and everybody is business, go, 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 go. And it becomes transactional. And, you know, I love quotes, but one of them is like, people may forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And one of the most powerful moments I've ever had in my life is when somebody genuinely like looked me in the eye, wasn't worried about the next meeting they had, wasn't worried about what they could get out of the person. They genuinely like, no, but how are you? What's your story? How did you get here? Oh my gosh, I love that you are such an overcomer, or wow, thank you for sharing that with me. This is how I know I feel I can support you, because I genuinely cared and I was curious and I helped from there.
Absolutely brilliant. And we've only probably got about 3 minutes left to go, but this is a topic I could definitely talk about. Okay, no, we've got a little bit extra time. We're having a bit of a technical glitch back home, but all good. We can keep going.
There we go.
And you know, it's been you only have about 3 minutes, but I wanted it to go a little further because I think this conversation is critically important. And I think that's the kind of thing that the viewers are really looking for, and it's how you discern. So take 3 more minutes and then we'll kick Jamie goodbye, but keep going.
Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate you. So like, I've recently just put myself into a really big leadership role out of, you know, being called into it. I wanted to do it like a hole in the head, but I felt like I had to do it. So my wife and I, we just started an online church, and we put ourselves into a space where we're, you know, in that position where everything's new and it's never been done before. And we're really pioneering, right? And it takes a bit of a crazy person to put yourself in that place. You know, what would you give some advice and some coaching to help us to become better, more effective leaders in that space?
Yeah. So specifically in this, and again, because of you also being very strong in your faith, I am going to kind of speak more Christianese, if you will. But I think it's important because, like, yes, we want to go out, we want to disciple, but we want to like cast our net super, super wide, but we can't forget to make sure that we're deepening the relationships, because otherwise we're leaving people 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And that's one thing. Yeah. And like right now, a trending topic and what is like a buzzword is boundaries. But realistically, it's like, actually my pastor, he says this all the time. Are you trying to serve the kingdom of me or the kingdom of heaven? Because when it gets in our selfishness, yes, we get to grow a church. We get to build it. We're going to help so many people. We.
It's not my church.
Yes. One person at a time, one relationship at a time, one conversation at a time, one healing at a time, one saving at a time, like allowing the roots to be established deeply, then being able to cultivate it so it can be spread wide.
I love that. So let the main thing be the main thing. Well, we've actually run out of time. It's been absolutely a pleasure, Jamie, and been a huge blessing. Thank you.
Yes, Jamie, thank you guys so much.
Thank you. And thank you for coming last minute. And I think there's a bigger conversation we could have here, Jamie, and this is you're meeting just part of our team. And I think there's places that we can have more, more of a talk and really go from there. So Jamie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Audience, give her that thunderous round of applause. The comments have been flying the whole time. And Jamie, we will talk to you very soon. Thank you again. All right, here we go. So Jeff, we're just going to keep rocking and rolling here.
Let's keep going.
Because when you got somebody, as I say, beaming in, isn't that always funny? But beaming in from Japan, it's such an honor. And one of her good friends, Motoko, is just I do calls with her almost every 2 weeks because we've developed this relationship of honor and respect in what we're doing, what we're building. So I'm going to bring up Lina. There you go. Hi there.
Hello.
And I'm going to tell them a little bit about you, and then we're just going to sort of have an open conversation for about 18 minutes. How's that sound?
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Um,
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You are the founder of a startup that transforms food waste into bio-based materials using fermentation technology. You used to work at a bank. You left finance to pursue this mission. You studied microbiology at the university and then launched your company. You believe it is possible to achieve both a business success, and social impact. You aim to help improve the status of women in business, both in Japan and globally. The biomaterials we produce through fermentation can be used in food and beverages, and our work contributes to solving these issues: food security, public health, and food waste. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I feel great and hearing all about myself. Like,
Yeah.
I see the ambitious in myself.
Isn't it funny when somebody reads our bio or intro and there's somewhere like, that's me, I did that, I'm
Yeah.
moving forward, right? It sort of grounds us in humility and makes us feel that we're really being of service. So, okay, so we have a worldwide audience here. They're listening as over 50 countries. Some are in villages, some are in big CEO towers, however, and they're all we're talking about leadership all day. And it's been a great day that way. We've had Joseph McClendon and Sharon Lecter and so many else really discussing that. I'm gonna open a question, then turn it over to Jeff too. From your perspective, and being a leader in Japan, and being a woman CEO, because we just had the Women's Journal on just a little bit ago. How do you perceive leadership, and how do you create leadership with the people around you?
Yeah, thank you for asking. Usually when you're CEO of a startup, there should be like lots of model cases that you see, and you meet many people, and there are so many books on it, articles and podcasts. But actually, sometimes I don't feel like I feel most of the model cases tend to be men, like lots of energy, guts, and sometimes I ask for advice when I'm so stressed. They say like, "Oh, you should do like triathlon, run, and like focus." And sometimes I feel like, okay, but no, I'm not that athletic, and this might be not something that I really want to do for stress relief. And sometimes I feel that I may need a different model. So sometimes I see it like I should not follow all the typical cases that you hear often. So that's what I find it difficult, to be honest. But right now in Japan too, there start to be a lot more women founders, not many. So that helps me a lot. Sometimes try to have conversation with her, and especially like the person Motoko that you mentioned. She's been my mentor, and trying to be like so natural about her, but still the great person trying to pursue both being herself and making the business that she wants to do. So that's the challenge, that I'm seeing right now.
I love that. And as leaders, right, we're all growing and we're looking to aspire to be more like, our mentors or people of history or something like that. So, as a woman CEO in Japan, who are some of the mentors in history or the leaders in history that you aspire to be more like, and how have they impacted your life?
To be really honest, I don't have much, but the one person definitely that inspired me was somebody that Michael just mentioned. That the Japanese founder and the CEO in media. But
Okay. Yep. So let's talk about some leadership qualities, and And
Oh.
I find, John Maxwell is one of the guys that I've learned a lot about leadership when he's talking about his 21 laws of leadership. And as one of the laws there is the law of the lid, right? We can only have our people rise so far between, if I'm an 8, our people are only going to be a 7 or a 6. So what are some of the things that you can help, leaders to raise that ceiling, raise that lid to become a better, more effective leader?
What are
some of the qualities that, leaders can lean into to learn how to be more effective?
It's difficult. I'm trying to think.
Well, if you take a look at
Yeah.
what you've created already, right?
Sorry.
No, this is great. This is where we all sort of think about it,
Mhm.
as a CEO up and coming, and you have now a team around you, right? Because you're creating a startup, so you have to create a team.
Yeah.
You're helping them sort of rise up because of your leadership. And I think it's that type that the mentors around you, like Motoko, right? Someone like that, and they're going to start to look at you as a mentor. What are one or two of your, would you say, best qualities when it comes to building a business? It could be the knowledge of, what do you see for yourself?
Okay, yeah. I think the fact that I never give up to things that people find it challenging, because what I've been doing, that I started my startup 16 years ago. It's kind of long, and it's all about sustainability and trying to achieve both business growth and the social impact. And turning food waste into like bio ingredients is something, if you hear it now, it sounds pretty like something that you can make money. But back maybe 5 years ago, the people, even like the VCs, or almost most of the people in business were like, are you sure that's what you want to do for business? It might be good for social,
Right.
that things like nonprofit, but I was so serious that this will definitely be something for business. So just keep on doing and believing in what I do. That seems to mean something for not just my people or team, but also other people.
What drew you? Hold on
on
one sec, Chip. Let me just finish this. What drew you to wanting to create something that really would help the planet? What drew you to that?
I just had a feeling that the gut feeling that this will definitely be a big business. And if I, from my experience from working for a bank, I knew that I like doing business, but at the same time, if I'm spending so much time, like sometimes stressed out, it should be something that I can feel that I'm doing good for, not just for myself, but for like other people or for community. If it just feels good. And then looking at what I'm doing, this will definitely make money. People, I couldn't see any reason why people don't really see it. So it was simply my gut feeling.
Okay, because you looked at, I look at your bio, right? And you talk about contributes to food security. Talk a little bit about that.
Okay, yeah. Basically what we do is we work on the food waste coming from the side stream, the waste, coffee grounds, or all kinds of residue coming after you make drinks or foods and stuff like that. And with that technology, we can turn them into something that you can use for the food, cosmetics, or food additives, all sorts of things. And looking at what's happening in the world, the population is growing, meaning you have to source something. And sometimes that you should use for like additives or fashion or anything should be used for something that people eat. And also, there's a lots of security reasons and like disconnects globally, like tariff issues and things that you may want to source things in your own country. Then my point is, why not use all the residue that's see in front of you? So with that technology, we can use the waste that was not being utilized at all into something that you can use internally, and also it's good for the environment as well, and it makes good business too.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff. You had a question.
Yeah, no, I just had a question, and coming back around to like belief and resilience, like never giving up, right? And I don't want to make an assumption. I want to ask the question. You know, being a female CEO and doing what you're doing in this space, you would have had to tune out the noise, right? And the distractions, like people saying you can't be doing this, you could, so you've got to really have a strong belief in what you're doing in that space. So what are some of the things that you use to help you to tune out the noise and stay focused on the main mission?
Yeah, thank you so much. That was exactly the struggle that I had, especially at the beginning stage. People will say, I don't see the business model here or stuff like that. And first I was listening to all these people, but I'm pretty lucky when I'm have issues. I happen to meet like a great mentor that can say, you can forget about it. So you can trust me. So the first person was somebody who had the experience doing the business, supported like a listed corporations. And he said, okay, no, you may hear all the noises, but I see something in you. That means he actually said that I think you can change the world. And now that I'm like, why did I believe 100% that much? But that was the word that I really needed to hear. And especially now I keep on meeting that kind of people. It's definitely one person that I met, Lisa Dyson from Airprotein. She's like a super, super great person, and had a chance to meet her. And she told me that you should follow your gut feeling. No, but of course, it's based on all my experience. I've been doing this for 16 years. I should know more than other people who keep on advise me, right? So sometimes I try to be really open and honest and open to new ideas, but I try to be selective who I should hear from, who is okay not to hear.
Right. That's right. And every time it is true. We have to like tune out the noise, because the noise will always, and there's a tendency of they want to bring you back so to their comfort level, but you're extending yourself out. And you keep saying you've been doing this for 16 years. And I'm like, what an honor. And I keep trying to go back to what keeps you going, right? Because 16 years, and I understand there's missions, like we can look at a lot of business stories that it took them 30 years to get to where they want to go. But what keeps you going?
It may sound funny, but it's just so much fun. Yeah. Because first, because nobody almost believed I started use our ingredients. We do have a factory, so make ingredients, turn them into cosmetics, and was selling. I was at the select shops, department store all day, and it was kind of fun talking to the people you never know. And then going to the B2B business. Now I'm talking to almost every day, talk to the large corporation, or I have a chance to go global. I just came back from France and going to Spain next week, and it's just exciting, and have this opportunity to be with you. You never imagine, unless you keep on doing, have that opportunity to talk with the people online. I talk about leadership, and so it's just fun and exciting to all these opportunities. And I keep meeting the people that inspire me, saying that, oh, what you're doing is great and interesting. And so I'm like, why not?
Right. There's something here. I love this story because we are, in America, let's be honest, we're very impatient. And I know this broadcast is going all around the world. And if something doesn't happen tomorrow, we do something else. And what you're showing is, especially because you're going to change the planet, you're going to make a difference, you're going to help with sustainability, and there's a business model with it too. And you're willing to do whatever it does to make it work, and you're having fun because you're learning a lot, you're meeting a lot of cool people, and you're doing that now after 16 years. So you were willing to put in the time to get there, which for me, I honor you so much just for what you're doing. Jeff, I think you had a question.
Yeah, I think the fun is probably been brought from obsession, right? So I've almost got to be obsessed to keep going, 16 years after that journey. So, obsession's a bit of a different quirk to, mission and focus, right? It's how would you describe obsession and having fun with it and really just digging in for 16 years?
Yeah, no, I think you can definitely say I'm so obsessed. And in a different way, my family keeps on saying that she may die, if you take this business from her. For now, that might be true. But you said that the people in the States keep on changing like the next day. And I might be same in that way. Things at the top or bottom or somewhere, it's always the same. Want to do something that can prove to people that I met that try to achieve both business growth and social impact can be possible. But except for that, I've been trying to do so many things. So like today I was doing the cosmetics, and tomorrow I might be doing something else, but still it's been the same. So the fun part is that you can try many things, right? And if you are in a larger corporation, it might be tough. But being in a startup, of course, there's lots of communications, but we can try. And if it doesn't work out, we might come back and do something else again. So I think I can say obsessed because I love what we're doing, and I love the purpose and missions, but at the same time, the fact that we are a startup and we can try so many sorts of things. So that's the good part, I think.
Yeah. I appreciate you so much, you taking your time. Are you sitting in Japan right now?
Yes, Tokyo.
Oh, awesome. Tokyo. I loved it. When I was there in February, by the way, everybody out there, I loved Japan. I had the most amazing experience. And I didn't even get to places, right? I got to come back because I want to go to Kyoto. There's a lot of places I want to get that I didn't get to, but I found that the people over there it was so respectful. It was so clean. I just loved it. And the food we ate, it was great. And I thank you so much for being on here, because I think sometimes people are afraid to start something, or afraid they have an idea, they have something good, but there's that fear, or the people around them, like you said, say, no, 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 no. And you were willing to push through that. Just one last question, and then we'll need to let you go. I'm thinking this through, but how about this? What is one thing you could tell your audience that you think a new entrepreneur should know?
Talk and meet the right people and follow your gut feeling.
Yeah. I love the gut feeling part, because we talked about that earlier, right? And people don't do that sometimes. They're fearful of their gut feeling, and that doesn't move them forward. So, Linnea Sakai, Linnea-san, thank you so much for being on here today. Motoko just thinks you're amazing, and Motoko's amazing. And this is the end of the show for us today. But I think what you've done is you've given people really that thought of, I can do this. I can do. She's doing it for 16 years already, right? And she was a bank and did all this, and you're continuing to do it to make a difference, to make a business. And there's also multiple businesses that are available as long as you stay on track. And you said get the right mentors. And I think that makes the difference. So thank you so much for being on with us today. I really appreciate the time. Thank you. I look forward to, we're going to have you back, because I would like to go deeper into really what it is that you do, and continuing to change the planet. And next time you see Motoko, say hi for me.
Yes, definitely do that. So everybody waiting from Japan. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. All right. Have a great afternoon. Bye, Linnea. All right. Yeah, there we go. I know I'm quick on the trigger. She was great. I mean, I love it, because it's the message of being a leader is you keep going. And I love that the day started with Joseph McClendon talking about PTSD and how we all have it. So we all have those things that can stop us. We all have pains and aches and trials and tribulations. I could break into song here, but there's all these things that stop us from moving forward. I mean, you and I have had experiences, right? Between you, you're trying to take your neck out, right? Between my back and hip and things, and that's why I'm moving a lot today, everybody. But we're still here. We're still here, and we still show up.
Yep. I had a horse jump on my neck, and I had to go through an identity crisis and come out the other side of that. And you know what? As weird as it sounds, I'm actually grateful for that experience.
Yeah.
Because it's maybe to be the person I am today. What I actually love about the whole through line of today's conversations, and Joseph set it up really, really well. Everybody's been talking about the qualities of leadership, and Joseph was talking about the 5 qualities, right? Integrity, let your yes be a yes. We had tenacity, and resilience, And then we've had like energy and, you know, the energy transferring and getting people to, you know, follow you, not be, you know, because they want to follow you, but not because they have to follow you, but because they want to. But then we also talked about kindness and joy. And I love that every speaker who followed was touching on those 5 points. It was an amazing setup and through line throughout the whole day.
Yeah, it really was. And I really, you know, the thing is, everybody had fun, right? So make sure you had fun. We enjoy being here. From myself and the Los Angeles Tribune and Mr. Mo Rock, and it is really about how we are making a difference and how we're keeping that positive media. And so, first of all, for staying with us all day, which a lot of you did, give yourselves a round of applause, right? We do this, right? I got to go through the screen, but and Jeff, you've just done a brilliant job today. You really took care of our back end. There was a big team on with us today, from myself and you and Parisa Rose and Jason and Donna and Karen Hall did a whole section for the Women's Journal. And I'm always going to leave somebody out, but I do. And Chris running the panel. And if I left somebody out, I am so sorry. I do it every time, you know, and really for Joseph McClendon being here, for one of my business partners, Mary Glorfield, who was Tony Robbins' vice president for 18 years. There's so much we do together and so much that we help each other that makes the difference every single time. So just one last time, we would love you to register so you could be part of not only what we're creating, but I'm going to have a special call for all of you Sunday night. For those of you listening, we're just going to go over some of the things we learned. We're going to get to know each other. We can do a little networking. If you can make it, fantastic. If you can't, fantastic. But make sure that you sign up. And all you have to do is just register at latleadershipweek.com. And we'll just keep moving forward. Jeff, last words before I let them go.
I'm just fired up. Like, this is only day 2, and you know we've still got 6 days left to go, and there's just been so many golden nuggets. Like, this has just been an absolute gem masterclass of leadership, and you know, one of these ones that will continue to go back and you know watch over time and time again. And just so grateful for everybody who's tuned in from around the globe, from Puerto Rico, from the Philippines to India to Italy to Australia to America. And it's just amazing, like the global impact that we are having here. And that's one of the reasons why I have chosen to, you know, lock arms and run with this amazing team and serve, because the positive impact, the legacy impact that this is going to have, just not for this year, but for generations to come. And just so honored and blessed, especially for our CEO, Mo Rock, to be able to just cast the vision wide and basically be a floodlight, not a spotlight. And I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. We're kicking off with Jim Quick, and it's going to be an amazing session.
You know, it really is. And the whole day, I was trying to quickly look at the whole day, but here, I can do it. And you can still hear me. You know, we have this day of start kicking off with Jim Quick, and then we have thought leaders and podcasters, and then we have a whole group from Vietnam for the Vietnam Journal. It's going to just be spectacular because it is about that learning. And then we're going to have thought leaders from Singapore and from Malaysia and on and on and on. And then the next day, we're going to kick off with Mr. Gene Simmons. So we can't wait, right? Worldwide marketing, and it only gets better. So, all right. So from myself, Mr. Mo Rock, the Los Angeles Tribune, Jeff, thank you for co-hosting and helping. Thank you, everybody out there. We're gonna basically take this out. You can re-listen. You can get the information. 10 a.m. tomorrow Pacific Standard Time. Be on early. Share it with everybody you know. Let everybody know that this is the right place to be. And you are our family, one team. And I'm going to count this down, and then we're going to let you go. Jeff's got his finger on the button. Here we go. 3, you're all amazing. 2, we'll see you tomorrow. 1, here we go.